Good evening, darlings. My dear friend Tumblr user Nyrlathatwink asked for my opinions on the voluntary human extinction movement, which is quite a fascinating little movement. So let's talk sort of what it is about generally and then go into some specifics and my opinions. So basically, it's a movement whereby a group of humans are trying to decide not to reproduce in such a way that the human population is brought down to a size that actually reduces the environmental impact enough that it's a sustainable population of humans. And I think that's absolutely a wonderful idea. You know, there's so many children out there that really could use homes already. And I think too many people are sort of married to the idea of having their own children and not just one child, which of course, even if you have one child that is your own blood, two people having one child, you're having your numbers each generation. So that's perfectly sustainable, but it's the people that have 5, 8, 20 children, you know, that are adding to it. And there are reasons historically why humans used to do that, you know, particularly in poor farming areas where your children were not going to survive. You needed to have enough children that some of them would be able to survive so that your progeny are going to go and have their own. So I think the problem is that in nature, typically, you know, there are some species that are sort of above this, humans being one of them. You know, even top predators in nature have things that keep them, their populations in check. You know, if there's too much population of your prey species, then it's very easy for predators to get them and they eat them down. But if there's not enough, of course, then a bunch starve, the weaker ones starve to death, and then the population goes down. And I'm not saying we should have people starving. I mean, that's already a problem in this world because of overpopulation. Although there's sort of a socioeconomical factor there, and that's sort of the thing I have the biggest problem with, despite the fact that I'm privileged. So, you know, there is a small faction that I've read about online that do seem to honestly want humans to just go extinct. Just no more reproduction. Let all humans die off to save the earth. And, you know, that's not sort of the best thing for species to let yourself just go extinct. But I do think that population reduction by even just only having one child and adoption and things of that nature, I think that's absolutely wonderful. And I think it's something that is, you know, it can be a very good solution to the fact that we're having all these energy crises and, you know, climate change. All of that is because of how large the human population is. And if that could be reduced, of course, naturally, that's going to make a difference. So I do think that it's a very good movement, and I'm not for the far extremes here. I'm just talking about the reducing how many children you have, and you know, we elves don't tend to have many children, in part because our lifespan is so long. If we had children the way humans do, it's not sustainable. And so that's part of why we tend to only have a couple of children usually, although there are exceptions to the rule in every case. But typically we have rather small families. And you know, I think that's not a bad thing. I think small families are perfectly fine. I'm not saying having a lot of relations around isn't a wonderful thing. I'm just saying that there's you know, we do need to be a little responsible with the world. And I think a lot of people's idea is, well, right now it's not so bad, so why should I stop doing what I want to do? And I just think it's a little selfish. And I am by nature a fairly selfish person. I can admit that, but you know, robbing others of their future, that's It's a little too much, darlings, you know what I'm saying. So, thank you, darling, for your request. If you want to talk further about it, of course, send me another message. I'm happy to talk about it. So, until next time, darlings. Ta-ta.